Hi everyone. So I'm Michelle McCarthy from Michelle McCarthy Crafts. Welcome to my first ever official YouTube tutorial. So many of you asked about this card. I posted it on one of my on my Facebook and Instagram. Same name, Michelle McCarthy Crafts, a few weeks ago. So many of you have asked, so I thought, what better project to do my first ever tutorial with than one that lots of you have asked for. So what you can see I've got here is we've got just a nice white card. It's an 8x5 in size, and if I just let that grab the light, I've got a gold satin mirror card, and then I've got this beautiful pattern paper, and it's got a hint of pearlescent on it. The ABC, again, these are dies that I've got in my stash from Crafter's Companion. You've got the bunting at the top. We've added some beautiful glitter paste with one of my stencils, and I think it's just a lovely, beautiful baby card. So I thought we'd do that, but in true Michelle style, we're going to do one of the different colours. So if I bring in the paper pad to show you, this is the beautiful paper pad. Now, I'm using the B side. Let me open that up for you. I'm using that beautiful B side. The A side is absolutely really full of pattern, but the B side is a lot more subdued. So we're going to be using that side for the card. I've got this beautiful mirror and matte mirror card, or satin mirror. And then with this one, you've got the pearl paper pad. So that's what I'm going to be using. This is the stencil set that I've got that I'm using. So I've used this one. So again, let me bring in this. You can see the hearts in the background. So this is the particular stencil from that collection that I've used. And then the other sort of bits that I'm using, these dies, the beautiful alphabet die. I'm using, so again, from my stash, I've got this die set. It's got that fabulous bunting in there. So we're going to be using that as well. I also found this in my stash because it's that beautiful kite, but what it's got here is a lovely little bow. So we're going to be using that as well. And then this, I use this all the time. I absolutely love it. What this is the most amazing array of different sentiments. So you've got friend, wonderful, congratulations, but you've also got things on here like the, of, so, and. So you can really build up all your sentiments that you're going to be using. So let's pop those to the side, because what I'm also going to be using is, for this particular one, I use some glitter paste and some gilding flakes in a gold. So this is sort of a gold and pink colourway, but I did say in true Michelle fashion. So in this new one, the one that we're going to do today, I've got this starlight blue glitter paste, and I've got this blue moon gilding flakes. Now, what I thought would be lovely is Mother's Day, Valentine's Day. You've got all those things coming up, so I thought we'd go with a blue colourway, keeping the style exactly the same, but we're going to just change it up a little bit with the colours. So you can see I've got that beautiful mirror card in the back, and then this is what I'm going to stencil onto. So let me pop those to the side. So you can see that that's the side that has got all that lovely pattern on, but turning it over, this is the side that I want to use, because I want to stencil onto it. I don't want to be too busy with all that pattern. So let me bring in, so I'm going to use my little messy silicone. You can see how messy it is. Look at that. Already been using it for some pinks, some beautiful pink gilding flakes. Of course it's messy, it's me. I do try to tidy up each time I create something. It doesn't really work. I do try. I honestly do try, but never mind. So I'm going to turn this round this way, and what I want to do is I just want to use a portion, an element of those hearts. So I'm going to pop it on. I'm going to bring in a little bit of tape, and I'm just going to tape that to the top there. And then this is where I'm going to bring in my glitter paste. And again, just grab my palette knife. Again, my palette knife's not the cleanest, but this has dried on here, so I'm not going to get any pink sort of transferring over. So let's just peel that lid away. When I get my glitter flakes, what are they called? Let's have a look. Yeah, glitter paste. I knew there was glitter in there somewhere. I was halfway right. Halfway right, sort of as good as it really gets with me, to be fair. So I'm always going to give it a bit of a stir, because sometimes your glue will settle to the bottom, and if you find that has happened, it doesn't matter. Just give it a bit of a stir and it's all going to be fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up with the back of my palette knife, so it just makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to pick some up and I'm just going to pop it down. I'm sort of going to go straight down and a little bit across, almost like an L shape. And just scrape that back up and back off, making sure that I've got it sort of everywhere that I want it to be. And the good thing about sort of having this bit of tape across the top is what you can do is you can sort of lift this up. You can see if you're happy with where it's all gone, which I absolutely am. So I'm going to take that off and pop it to the side. Put the excess back in here. To prevent it from drying out, I've always got some tin foil or aluminium foil. If you are in the States, it just, again, prevents it from drying out. Keeps that seal. So I'm really happy with that, but what you can see is I've got sort of lots of little bits there where there's just partial bits of those hearts popped on. So all I'm going to do is with the end of my little metal ruler, I'm just going to take those away. Just going to pick those up and take them away. And do this before it dries out. Just clear that off. And then, so let me try and put stuff somewhere nice and clean. I'm trying to stay tidy, honest. But how lovely does that look? And because I've just got that bit of gold popping through, I think it's looking lovely. So I'm going to pop that to the side because we're going to allow that to dry. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in, so I'm going to pop mum on mine because that's how I say it. Again, if you say mom or mam or however, or if you're doing this for dad, but I'm just thinking Mother's Day, make a lovely, beautiful Mother's Day card. So if I bring these in, I've used the paper pad with that gorgeous pearlescent card in there with the blues, and I've also, look at this, you've got that beautiful mirror card in there. So again, you've got the mum in the mirror card. I'm going to have that as like a drop shadow below. I've got one of my pieces of bunting cut out. So, and I've also got that heart. I always call a bow a heart, but I've got that lovely little bow. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to bring in our gilding flakes. So this time, I got it correct this time, look. Gilding flakes. We're going to bring those in. I'm going to use some tacky glue. I've got my little sponge. I've got a little kit that is this liquid glue and the sponge, and then it was just a small gilding flakes. Again, if you don't have this, just use some of your tacky glue. You just need to wait till it goes a little bit tacky when you apply it. And the bonus of using this is you've obviously got those little pallets at the side that you can pop some glue in and not worry about getting it everywhere. So to pop my gilding flakes on here, I always use one of these. So these are just the little finger daubers that you will probably use for your ink. I always keep one of these for all my gilding flakes. It doesn't matter if it's got a little bit of blue on there or if it had a bit of pink on there, because once it's dried on there, that tiny little bit is really not going to transfer over. So we'll start with the M. I'm just going to dip that in here, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue just sporadically in. I'm not trying to make it uniform or anything like that. I'm just going to pop it in little bits. One of the letters, so that U for me, I'm going to cover the whole thing. So just one of the letters, I'm going to cover the whole thing in glue, and then the other two, I'm just going to have like little bits sort of spread about. And then what you're going to do, let me just pop those to the side. There we go. You're just going to wait for it to go tacky. So give it 10, 20 seconds. It sort of has a bit of a tinge to it, a bit of a blue tinge. And you can see once it starts to lose that tinge, it's drying. It's gone a little bit tacky. And that's when you're going to sort of bring in your gilding flakes. Now, when you take your lid off, this is where you don't breathe. This is where you turn any fans or air conditioning off, because it really goes everywhere. So I'm just going to, what I tend to do is I'll grab a bit and I just sort of dot it everywhere. This is why I'm always covered in something. So if you ever see me crafting, I've always got glitter or anything, gilding flakes, I'm always covered in it, because it's fun to just get a bit messy. So let's tap those little bits off. And again, make sure you peel that up, because you are going to stick it to your mat. I'm just going to try and bring all these to sort of a little pot, a little space, and then pop them back in. Great tip, if you've got lots of your gilding flakes, get some of those little tubs that you can get from the supermarket, little Tupperware tubs, because what you're going to do is it's going to be bigger than that, and it's just going to fit in a lot better into sort of a bigger tub than trying to squeeze it all back into this one. So again, let's bring these two letters back in. And now it's had time to sort of go off. We can bring in our little sponge and we can give it a bit of a burnish, a bit of a polish. And then what you've got is that beautiful gilding flake on there. And again, let's bring this in. And this is the one where I put glue everywhere, because I wanted it everywhere. The gilding flakes everywhere, not the glue. To be honest, though, I do have glue everywhere. Gilding flakes everywhere. I was playing with glitter earlier, and that's everywhere. So those are the sort of two different ways. Little bits on the other two letters, and then I'm going to have one that's got gilding flakes everywhere. So if I pop those to the side, let's get rid of this messy mat. I will clean that later. Well, I may clean that later. It just depends. Right, so you can see which is the mirror card, can't you? Absolutely. So they're going to be a drop shadow. So let me just let me bring in a little piece of card. Let's pop these on here. So what we're going to do now is, because I'm going to bring in my poker tool first. Where you've got that lovely flower, I'm just going to use my poker tool just to again re-establish the edges of that, so you can see that beautiful decorative flourish that you've got there. The same on this one as well, just using the end of your poker tool. Just there we go. Right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to use my dotty and I'm going to use my tacky glue as well to attach it to here. Now my dotty I'm going to use over that decorative die cut bit, and then so it means I'm just not getting glue seeping out everywhere. And then using my little pin top glue bottle, finish a sentence, always helps, doesn't it? I'm going to pop that on there. Now it's entirely up to you. I'm going to have a bit of a drop shadow coming from the top and just a little bit to this side. You can have it just the top, just the bottom, left and right, a little bit top and to the left. It's entirely up to you. I think we all have a personal preference of how we do a drop shadow. So go for whichever you prefer. So bringing again in the dotty tape pen over that decorative die cut out bit, and then tacky glue. Again, I'm going to bring mine down just a little and then to the side. So my drop shadow. If it's at the top, is it a top shadow? But my shadow's at the top and to the side. Can you see? Let it catch the light and you can see where that is. But it's not, it is a top shadow, drop shadow, whichever you want to call it. You've got that beautiful mirror card. And I look fabulous, don't I? Right, so let me pop my pin in the top before I lose it. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some that I've already finished that are lovely and dry. And I don't need to worry about them. So you can see, I'll pop those to the side. I've got the mum, and again I used gilding flakes all over the U and just in bits on the two M's. So I think what we can do now is if I bring in my base card and we can sort of start putting this together now. So you can see that all the elements come together really well. We've got that decorative pattern paper. We've put those beautiful hearts on. Now this is the wet one, which I'm not going to use yet because it still needs time to dry. I would give it at least a good 30 minutes because not only have you got that glitter paste to dry, but your paper as well, because it's water-based, so it's going to soak into your paper. So you want your paper or your pattern paper or whatever card that you're using to dry as well as that glitter paste on top. So trying not to get any more mess everywhere. But I think that's part of the fun, isn't it? Getting mess everywhere and being a little bit, a bit crafty. It looks lovely on your nails, I've got to say. You know, polish all over your nails and you've got some beautiful, unique nail varnish. So what I've got here is I've got a piece of card and it's 10 inches by 8 and I've just folded it in half. So what I've got is an 8 by 5 card base. I'm going to give that a nice burnish. I'm going to bring in this beautiful mirror card. And then we're going to stick that. So I've gone down 1/4 inch. So an 8 by 5 card base. I've gone down 1/4 inch. So my mirror is 7 3/4 by 4 3/4. So let's pop that on there. And again, it's entirely up to you. We all have, I think, a preference of how big or how small we create a border. That's something that definitely have a play about with. If you always do 1/4 inch, have a play about with a 1/2 inch one. Have a play about with mixing up. So go down 1/2 inch, then 1/4 inch. You'd be surprised how lovely it looks. And again, it's all about creating unique pieces, isn't it? So having a bit of a play about, seeing what you prefer for that particular piece that you are creating. So let's give this a nice good burnish. Try not to wiggle it out of space or out of place while you're doing it. So your paper, because I have used the paper and I think it's a 240 GSM, it's going to warp a tiny little bit. Can you see how I'm bowing there? But as long as you burnish it well, you can see I'm sort of following that sort of bit of a bubble around. It is going to all stick. You just need to give it a good burnish, so either with your hands or with your tool. What you can also do is, because you've got that glitter paste on there, if you open it up and you bring it to the back of where you've glued it down and then keep giving it a good burnish, what you're going to eventually get is, without having knocked anything off of your front of your card, you're going to get that really good burnish while that glue is drying. So let's turn that over, and you can see that bubble's totally gone now and it's all stuck beautiful and flat. So this is the fun bit. This is where we're going to create that layout. We're going to have that little bit of fun. So I created my bunting from the die that I showed you. I've got my letters, so I've got that mum. And then, did I show you? I did show you. But what I tend to do with that beautiful stamp set, now this is one of my favourite stamp sets of all time. I just absolutely love it. I love the font. I love how it's almost like you've typed it out. But what I love is, not only have you got things like happy birthday, you have got of, the, are, so. So what you can be creating is either just a full sentiment with this, or what you can also be creating, I've lost my words. What you can also be creating There we go. I'm just focusing my camera a little bit. Is those additional words to go with whatever it is. So I've got my big die here. So I've got mum. So let's have a play about with that placement. And then I've just got special. So I've got special mum. So, just adding those little words in there with your bigger dies or your bigger stamps alphabet. We're going to pop. So you're going to pop everything on. I've got foam pads on mine already. You don't want to sit and watch me putting foam pads on everything. And then we're going to play with this placement. I don't want it to be uniform. I don't want it to be all straight. I want it to be a bit in line with sort of the card we've gone for. It's a little bit shabby chic, a little bit messy, isn't it? So my special is going to go in there. I'm going to pop a foam pad on that in a minute, but I'm really quite happy with that. So I'm going to leave it as is, and then I'm going to take the backs of these foam pads that are on here. Can you remember at the start of the video how clean and tidy my desk was? I did tell you it wouldn't last long, didn't I? But where's the fun in that, eh? So I'm quite happy with that. If you want it further up in the corner, obviously you can be cutting those bits off, which I'm going to trim them off in a minute. I'm quite happy with that. I don't want my M and my M to match. I want that to be a little bit further over. So let's go with that. I think that placement's quite nice. So let's, again, just remove the foam. Now, because I'm going to be sticking these onto some glitter paste that I've got there, I'm always going to add a little bit of extra glue. So I'm going to bring in, I've got some tacky glue dispensed into this bottle. So I'm going to bring in that and I'm going to add it on. What it just allows it to do, you've got that extra grab onto something quite textured like those glitter pastes. And then give it a good press down. And again, the same with this one. I'm going to add some tacky glue into the back. You can tell I'm concentrating because I've slowed down my speech a little bit. But we will get there still. Just slower. There we go. So MU, and again, just making sure I'm happy with where we're going to pop it. So I always do this whenever I'm creating anything. I like to have everything sort of finished and made, and then before I stick anything down, have a bit of a play with the placement. Even your mats and layers. Before I stick all my mats and layers down, you're going to have a bit of play with those as well, because you might want no mats and layers. You might want lots of mats and layers. You might want, again, different depths. So definitely have a play before you commit to sticking anything down. Right, so I'm absolutely loving that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my foam pads. So again, these are some tiny ones. And it just about fits. Look at that. So again, popping a bit of glue on because it's going onto that texture. And then decide where you want it. Again, have a play with the placement on that as well. You might just want, I want actually it right in the middle there. I think that looks lovely. So I'm happy with that. I mean, you could do a lot more if you wanted, so you could bring in your gilding flakes. Before you've glued this pattern piece down, you could add bits around the edges if you wanted. You still could. I could bring in your red liner tape. So if you've got some red liner tape, I think I've got some here in my drawer. Any of your red liner tapes, I mean, I've got all sorts of thicknesses here. You can get like a 3, a 6 and a 12. If you want to add a faux border, so it works brilliantly with your 3mm, all the way round, and add your gilding flakes onto that, it sticks like a dream. And again, it gives you like an extra, it looks like you've got an extra matten layer, but you haven't. So again, if you're posting it, you've got that faux matten layer, which looks absolutely fabulous. So the only other thing we're going to do is, remember that lovely little bow that I cut out? I've got a flower, just a tiny small flower. It's just a generic flower that I've got in my stash somewhere. we're going to pop these on. So I'm going to, again, you're going to have a bit of a play about where you want them. I'm going to pop that one on there. And I think I'm going to pop that there. And on here, I might pop a couple of gems. So bringing this off, let's add some tacky glue to the back, just in the middle, so I can just lift each side of the bow up. So popping that on there, I'm just going to hold it a second. I've got some little gems here, so I can use the blue ones, I can use some clear ones. I do have some clear ones. You know those beautiful dewdrops? They are on my desk somewhere. But I think what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to actually, in the middle of that bow, I'm going to pop that. And if you heard the door open, that was my son running through, and then he realised that I was recording and walked backwards out of the room very quiet. Well, I think he thought he was being very quiet. But so that's who that was. Really, I should have made him come and say hello, shouldn't I? So I've got a lovely bow there. I've got that flower there, and on here I'm just going to pop a couple of the gems, the matching ones, that lovely clear. So let's pop that there. And then I'm going to do two of the smaller ones just randomly. This is again where you just have a bit of a play. So there we go. And then down here, it definitely needs something. You've got all that decorative element up there. You've got all the glitter. So you could have put more of those hearts down at the bottom if you wanted, but I didn't want to. What I wanted to do was bring these in. So I've got these beautiful blue ones. So I've got two large ones. No, let's use one large one and two sort of those medium ones. And we'll have a bit of a play. Let me move that there. And that one. So, over. So what I always tend to do is I tend to have two closer to each other and the third one further away when I sort of put that shape on there. So that is in the blue. So let me see if I can find my original card. Oh, it's here, love. So that is in the blue compared to that pink and gold. So you've got ABC, beautiful for a baby. Mum, perfect for Mother's Day. But very quickly, what I want to do is I want to bring in this one because, again, I had a bit of a play, a bit of a change about with the colours. So for this one, I was saying Valentine's Day, wasn't I? So I don't know where the other two have gone. They've just floated the halo. So I used the Love, the Love, from the same die set. I've already stuck these mats and layers together, so I thought we'd quickly pop this onto the end. I've got that beautiful pink, again, this is all from the same paper pads. That pattern paper, I've used the same stencil, but I've gone through with a different pink, well, a different colour. I've used the Peony Bloom for the gilding flake, for the glitter paste, and then the gilding flakes are the pretty pink. So those are the two colours that I've used. So again, perfect for Valentine's Day. If you've got your reds, they're going to work absolutely the same way. I've done exactly the same with the bunting. So before we commit to sort of sticking again, let's have a bit of a play about with the placement. So I've got the lots here. Again, it's from that same stamp set. So we've got LOVE. Now, this is obviously 4 letters compared to the three that I've previously done, but you just need to have a little bit of a play with the placement. Make sure that when you are popping it on there, it still reads sensibly. I've got that lots. I don't need to have lots of if I don't want to. It's again entirely up to you. You can do. I think it's on that stamp set. Or if you're using something else, you can definitely still use it. Again, I'm quite happy with how I'm not. I think you're never really quite happy, are you? Until you don't have a choice, till it's all stuck down. So I think I'm quite happy with that. But I've already taken the backs off of that, so let's pop that on there. Now, really, I should have put some extra tacky glue on the back, but I forgot. I was too busy talking. It's very hard to do more than one thing at once. If I'm talking, I can't do anything else. If I'm doing something else, I can't talk. I know we're supposed to be able to multitask, aren't we? But no, it's not my strong suit. I can do one thing or the other. There we go. Let's put that on there. So I've remembered this time. So do I want those? I'm going to have those two sort of straight with each other. And then I'm going to play about with those two. Just to see what you're preferring. I quite like that. So we're going to go for that. So just cutting up my foam pads to make sure that they fit. Let's pop that on there. And then there we go. And then I'm going to pop that E. Again, that when you've got 4 letters, I think to have that last one sort of, on a jaunty angle actually looks quite nice. So have a bit of a play, see what you think. I think almost as if, it's falling off the edge or something. So I think we'll go for that until I've got glue on, and then I'd probably decide on something totally different. But that's part of the fun, isn't it? So I think I'm going to go for it. Let's do it. Let's add it on in that sort of lovely jaunty angle. Now I'm just looking for, it's here, look. So I did have one die cut out. So I think shall we quickly die cut one out so we can pop it on? Because I've got a lovely little flower. These are my paper flowers. And I think that one's going to go on there. So I want that hat. I want I keep calling it a hat. It's officially now changed its name. It's officially now called a bow. See, now I've just called it its correct name. When I didn't want to, it got called its correct name. Honest to goodness. So I'm just going to bring in just my little die cutting machine, because we're just going to run this tiny little bow through. Make sure it stays on there. So let's pop that in there, look through. There we go. And then I've got that lovely bow. So again, I'm going to pop that on the L. I'm going to have that lovely flower just on that E. So again, I'm going to use my tacky glue, because we're gluing onto not only sort of a pearlescent paper, but also then glitter flakes that are on there as well. So lifting those sides of the bow up, not hat, bow, we're going to pop that on there. And then again with these, I've got some of my gems again just from my stash. We're going to take a couple of those off. It's going to go just there. I don't need a centre because that's some paper flowers from my stash. And then, like I did before, I'm going to pop 1, 2, 3, just randomly in that corner. And again, I tend to have 2 closer and then 1 further apart. I could pop some of these gems on one of my letters like I did for this one. It's there, look. I knew it was somewhere. I think when you've got 3, you can get away with it, because I've got 4 there. If I put gems on 1, it's going to feel like I've forgot 1 altogether. So I'm going to leave 2 with nothing on and 2 with something on. So let me just bring all 3 of those in so you can see, sort of using the same composition, gilding flakes everywhere. You've got a beautiful baby one if you want. You've got a beautiful mum for Mother's Day, and then you've got that gorgeous love again. So for Valentine's Day, it could be for Mother's Day, it could be for someone's birthday. But yeah, so that is that is me done for today. I finally got there. Can you believe it? So I do hope that you love and enjoy that. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed it, if you've got any ideas, if there's anything you'd like to see for future tutorials, absolutely let me know. My Instagram and my Facebook are all Michelle McCarthy Crafts. So pop across there and let me know if there's anything that you would like to see. And also let me know if I did a good job, if I said too much, and what you thought about it. So I'm going to get off, but I will see you all on my next tutorial. And thank you so much for joining me.